Good evening. Welcome to Monday's guided meditation session at Vajrayana Institute, and I'm Wai Cheong. So we'll be doing our usual two meditations, and the first one will be on calm abiding. So the aim of this type of meditation, of course, is to help us calm the disturbances of our body and mind, and to enable both body and mind to be able to settle down, to abide in the present moment, and to enter deeper into our meditation. So there are usually different objects to focus on in calm abiding meditation, and I thought today we will do a visualization practice, and I usually, on my calm abiding meditation, I like to follow a certain sequence. Take some time at the beginning of the meditation, after we settle into our posture. The first step is always, I invite people to bring attention to the body, mindfulness of body, because I find that really helpful. By returning attention to our body, we facilitate the body to make adjustments. The body, with its own intelligence, is able to release the unnecessary contractions and tensions, which cause us so much discomfort. And as the body releases those unnecessary or unwanted tightenings and contractions, immediately we feel much better physically. We are much more comfortable within our body in the posture, and that naturally gives rise to pleasant sensations. Might be quite mild, quite faint, but nonetheless quite pleasant. A sense of softening, a sense of loosening up, a feeling of relaxation, at least in some parts of our body. And so the second step is, of course, I will invite you to be mindful of those pleasant feelings that come out of your meditation. So mindfulness of body leads to mindfulness of feelings, in particular pleasant feelings that come out of the meditation. And contacting those pleasant feelings, welcoming them into our awareness, allowing ourselves to enjoy those pleasant sensations while they are here. They don't last very long because they tend to fade away quite quickly. But if we are able to be aware of them, we are allowing ourselves to enjoy them, that goes a long way to reassure our mind, reassure our mind, our hearts that everything is all right here. And that leads us to lead the mind to release. Releases is reactivities. Reactivities quite often in the form of thinking, those compulsive, involuntary thinking where we sort of ruminate over past incidents or worry about the future, compulsively planning for the future, or we may find ourselves easily distracted to the past or to some fantasy. A lot of those thinking activities will slow down if we are able to reassure the mind that something nice, something good is happening to us in the meditation, through contacting and be mindful of pleasant sensations arising within the meditation. So just by these two steps, mindfulness of body and mindfulness of feelings, we are able to go a long way to help body and mind to transition into meditation, helping them to at least release partially some of those physical and mental reactivities. And you'll find that it makes it so much easier for us to settle into our meditation. And then, of course, without us doing anything extra, we naturally will be more mindful of our own mind, the states of our mind, the states of our consciousness. What are the different factors that might be influencing the functioning of our consciousness in this moment? So mindfulness of body leads to mindfulness of feeling, which leads to mindfulness of the mind itself. And it is by learning to then work with the different factors influencing the functioning of our consciousness that we are able to help our mind, our consciousness to move towards the state of calm abiding, to be able to calm down even more of those even subtler disturbances, both physically and mentally, and to come closer to achieving a state of what we call meditative absorption, or sometimes we call it calm abiding. In the visualization practice I'm going to invite you to do is invite you to visualize in the space in front of you, slightly above, because this is in the space of your mind, to bring forth a source of radiant brightness, a source of light. I usually just think of it as the sun in my own mind and heart. But of course, people can imagine this source of light, in this meditation, to be anything. You have a particular sacred figures, image that you would like to invoke. You can do that. I always keep it simple. I just think of it as a sphere of light, something really bright, and not to worry too much if it doesn't appear very clearly. Just think of it as like the sun, which we can't really look at it for very long anyway. And that brightness, the light shine on all parts of our body simultaneously. The whole body is touched by the light. And what I'm going to do is to invite you within the light, as we scan very briefly through the body, starting from the crown all the way down to the feet slowly, and think of each part of the body is receiving the light, the brightness, the radiance. And what will happen? You can even imbue the light with other positive qualities. But today it's very cold, so you can think of it as imbued with a sense of warmth, and as well as other positive associations. And we very gently receive the light, the warmth, as well as all other positive associations, allow it to flow through our skin into our muscles, into our body, into all parts of our body. And as we receive the light, the brightness, as well as all its positive associations, we are encouraging both body and mind to respond to it in the positive way, to receive that light, the brightness, and to respond by releasing anything that is unwanted and unhelpful. And so doing, transform our body into a body completely filled with this brightness and radiance, as well as all the positive connotations and associations we bring with it. So let's do a meditation on this and see what happens. So take a few moments, settle your body into a suitable meditation posture, sitting on the chair, sitting on the floor, cross-legged, or lying down, lying on your back in the supine position, whichever way works best for you. And we start from there. Most important aspect of the posture is to take care of our spine, our back. So see if you can find a posture that allows your back to be upright in the natural way. If you're sitting, or straight if you're lying down, just take care that the posture does not introduce additional and unnecessary pain or discomfort, spine or any other parts of your body, especially the two vulnerable spots along your spine, the neck and the lower back. Take care that these two parts of the body feels comfortable in that posture. Rest your hands and arms on some kind of physical support. Sitting, you can rest the hands on the knees or place them one on top of the other, thumbs slightly touching, and rest them in the lap. So we want the hands and arms to be supported physically, so we don't have to tense up the shoulder muscles or arm muscles to somehow hold up the arms. And as for the eyes, please feel free to close them completely, or if you are used to meditating with your eyes open or half open, and then also perfectly fine. So let's give our body a few moments to sort of adjust and get used to the posture, to find its way into the posture. I usually begin by becoming aware of the sensations coming through from beneath us, coming through from the seat, from the floor, the ground, and allow those sensations to come to us through the points of contact between body and seat, body and ground. Allow ourselves, allow our body to sense that in this posture, we are well supported on something that feels solid, firm, and stable. This reassured our body and goes a long way to encourage our body to loosen up, to unwind, to set aside unnecessary contractions or tightenings in the different parts of the body. Contractions and tightenings, they are more likely our reactions to stressful situations, some old habits of ours, postural habits of ours, to release some of those unnecessary contractions and tightenings so that our body can actually settle down more and more comfortably into this meditation posture. So to help body and mind to transition into meditation, we're going to make use of a visualization practice to help us to see if you can, in the space of your mind, just imagine with the power of your imagination, allow to appear within your own mind, your own awareness, a sphere of light in front of you, slightly above you, a source of radiant light and brightness, just like the sun. Usually I just focus on the sense of brightness and radiance, but some of you might be good at visualization. Then you might want to imbue that light with a specific color. White has association with purification, with cleansing. Golden yellow is a wonderful color that conveys a sense of abundance, of richness and blessing. So feel free to play with the colors if you like. Otherwise, just like me, just focus on the sense of something really bright and radiant. And also imbue the light with other positive qualities. Maybe a sense of warmth on a cold day here in Sydney. Or you can imbue it with a sense of coolness if you feel very hot. And just think that the light symbolize many positive qualities of love, of compassion, of wisdom. And allow that light to shine on all parts of our body. Allow all parts of our body to somehow come in touch with that brightness and radiance. And I'm going to invite you to allow the sensations at the different parts of the body to come into awareness. At each part of the body, as we become aware of the sensations there, we also imagine inviting the cells, the tissues, the organs at that part of the body to open up, to be receptive, to receive the light, receive that brightness, the radiance, as well as all the goodness symbolized by it, to receive them into our body, not just the skin, but into all the other cells and tissue within the body. So let's start at the crown. Imagine the light shine on the body, touching the crown. Be aware of sensations here at the crown. Allow those simple sensations to come into awareness. Maybe we notice some tingling sensation, a slight feeling of pressure, warmth, coolness, itchiness, maybe nothing in particular. Just notice that part of the body and imagine welcoming the brightness, the radiance, the energy from this source of goodness. Allow that energy to flow into the crown, past the skin, past the skull. Allow it to enter into the head, touching the brain, touching all the different neurons, filling them up with something really positive, helpful, and beneficial, illuminating them with light. Next, imagine light fall on our face, illuminating our face. See if we can allow into our awareness the sensations at our own face. Are we tensing up any of the muscles of the face? How about muscles of our forehead, or those of our jaw, or the muscles around the eyes? If we notice that we have unconsciously tightened or contract some of these muscles, is it possible now that our face is touched and illuminated by the light, by this positive energy, by welcoming that light, the brightness, the warmth, or whatever textures or experience we associated with the light, allow this energy to flow into our face, into the muscles, the tissues at the face. Can we allow those facial muscles to relax? And allow a different feeling to come into our face, a sense of softening, of ease, comfort, and relaxation at the face. Allow the light to flow even deeper, filling up our entire head, touching all parts of the head, outside and inside, so that every cell in this part of our body is somehow filled and illuminated by the light and brightness and radiance. In this visualization, see if we don't try hard and definitely not harder. Just imagine the light effortlessly fall on our body and flow into the different parts of the body all by itself. What we are doing is simply, as we go through the body, as we come back and to be in touch with each part of the body, we can appreciate the sensations here, appreciate that each part of the body has been open and receptive, receiving that light. Flowing downwards at the neck and throat, imagine light touching this part of the body, flowing through the skin into the cells and tissues beneath. What sort of sensations are we aware of at this part of the body, at the throat, at the neck? Moving downwards, how about our shoulders? Imagine our shoulders are illuminated by the light. Allow the energy of the light to flow into our shoulder, touching the various muscles at our shoulder joint. Quite often we store tensions and tightness at the shoulder and neck. Tension and tightness that may not be easy to release, to relax. So see if we do notice any feelings of discomfort here, to just acknowledge those feelings and let them be for the moment. Imagine the light touching, illuminating both arms, Become aware of sensations in both arms, starting from the shoulder joints. Allow the different sensations in the upper arms to come into awareness. Simple sensations, not looking for anything unusual or spectacular. As we become aware of sensations in the upper arms, we also imagine that the cells in this part of the body are receptive and receive the light, the brightness, the warmth, as well as all their positive connotations and associations. Imagine the elbows are also touched by the light. Notice the subtle sensations at the elbows. And imagine the joints are receiving that light, the brightness, and any healing properties that come along with it. Moving downwards, allow sensations in the forearms to come into awareness. The forearm, the wrists, all the way down to the hands. Become aware of sensations here. And while we are aware of those sensations, we can also imagine the cells, the tissues at this part of our body receive the light, welcome the brightness, the radiance, the positive energy, allowing this to flow into our forearms, both hands, the fingers, all the way to the fingertips. Coming back to the light, to the body, not to worry if our attention is distracted elsewhere by thoughts, by fantasies, memories, some ongoing inner commentary or judgment. To see if we can come back into the light, come back to the body to receive that light. Now that we are aware of both arms, see if we can give permission and just allow both arms to rest their weight comfortably on their physical support. Coming back to the body, imagine our chest receive the light, the brightness and radiance which flow past the skin and muscles into the chest cavity, filling up all parts of the chest, not just the front, but also the back and the sides, filling all the cells, the tissues, the organs with something radiant, bright. And alongside the visualization, allow in to our awareness the different sensations we notice here in this part of our body. The sensations associated with the movements of the chest as we breathe in and out. Maybe we also sense the beating of our own heart. Maybe we notice the sensations at the upper back or the middle back. Moving downwards, imagine the abdomen receive the light, the brightness and radiance, and all this energy flow into the abdominal cavity, touching the cells, the tissues, the different layers of tissues, flowing into the vital organs in this part of our body, and extend all the way to our lower back, touching the muscles, the bones, the spinal cord. Become aware of sensations at our abdomen. Welcome those sensations into awareness. Imagine the light falls on our pelvis and welcome the brightness and radiance into our pelvic region, touching the various powerful muscles within along with the bones, illuminating the spaces and the various organs here. Invite into our awareness the different sensations at the pelvis. Notice the weight of the pelvis resting on the seat. See if we can surrender the weight, allow the whole pelvis as well as the upper body, if we are sitting, allowing their weight to rest comfortably on the seat. And imagine the light falls on both legs at the same time, illuminating both legs. And as we let into awareness the sensations in both legs, starting from the hips, we also let in to the cells and tissues in this part of the body, the brightness, the radiance, the warmth, as well as all the positive qualities associated with the light. Allow the light to fall on the different parts of our legs, from the hips down to the knees. And as the light falls on our legs, we also become aware of sensations here. Receiving the light, become aware of sensations from the knees down to the ankles, and eventually arriving at both feet, so that we notice the sensations coming through the soles of the feet, at the top of the feet, and those sensations in the toes. Imagine receiving more of that light and brightness into this part of our body. Now that we are aware of sensations in both legs, see if we can give permission and just rest the weight of both legs comfortably on the floor or wherever supports they are on. So rest our body in this posture. Rest our mind here and now with the body, with the visualization of light, filling up every part of our body, every cell in the body, and illuminating all the spaces between the cells and tissues and organs. Rest our attention here and now with the bodily sensations and with this image of a body filled with light. Take a few moments, check in to notice how your body is doing at the end of this meditation. The body that we have imagined transformed into a body of light. Every part of the body is somehow filled with that brightness and radiance. Just checking and notice how your body is doing, how is it feeling. Now let's check in and notice the quality of attention present here, the state of our mind. What do we notice about the mind now that we have completed the visualizations of light, or receiving the light into the body? See if we can highlight anything positive and helpful or uplifting and encouraging to ourselves, any of the experiences, any of the findings. In so doing, reinforce and build a positive associations with our meditation experiences. Okay, so there is a karma body meditation with the help of visualization. Probably when you are used to this meditation, you can do it with even less effort. I mean, I'm guiding it, so I seem to be a bit more verbose. But it's like, imagine yourself lying out in the sun, with proper sun protection, just receiving the sun's ray and warmth, and just soaking that in and allowing that to have a positive effect on our body and our mind, helping our body and mind to let go and let drop things that bother them or disturb them, and just welcoming something really positive and helpful or pleasant into our experience. Yeah. So I am sort of for the second meditation, I've been touching on mindfulness, especially mindfulness practice according to this formulation represented by this acronym RAIN, RAIN. R stands for recognition, to recognize what is happening, to recognize a thought as a thought, to recognize sadness as sadness, or excitement as excitement, recognition. Today I thought we can maybe also add on the next letter, which is A, stand for, I usually call it acknowledgement. Some people call it acceptance, still others use the word allow. Acknowledgement means acknowledge what is here as what it is. Yeah. So acknowledge that maybe my shoulders, for some reason, my shoulder is still very tight and tense. So there's this unpleasant sensation here. So I recognize that as unpleasant. No, I mean, I probably, if I pay attention to it and invite those sensations in, I can notice more details. I can recognize the unpleasantness of it, and also as well as the details. But in the midst of doing that, in the midst of that awareness, I can also acknowledge that, oh, my shoulders are not feeling so good today. I can acknowledge that there's unpleasant feelings within my meditative experience in this moment. Likewise, we can also, so acknowledgement is a strange kind of attitude of the mind, almost as if not only are we not in a hurry to judge good or bad, and not in a hurry to sort of get rid of something or hang on to others. No, we are also kind of simply allowing ourselves to see, to sort of know what is actually happening, what is the reality of this moment. So before we implement any kind of intervention or change, it's very important to acknowledge what is unfolding in this moment. Sometimes we resist what is happening in this moment. Resistance take the form of denial. We don't want to see it, we don't want to know about it, or take the form of suppression. We just want to somehow push it out of sight and out of mind, thinking that there is a solution, or we react immediately to it. We are in such a hurry to get rid of it that we tense up, we strain, we struggle because we don't like it. So we want to be rid of it immediately. Acknowledgement is the opposite of all this. It's different from all this. Acknowledgement is like having the capacity to let it into awareness, to recognize it, and then to almost like saying, all right, let me see what is actually going on here. Let me have a good look. Let me be able to face up to the reality of this moment. And then subsequently, I might do something about it. But first and foremost, I need to know what is happening and to be able to acknowledge it. Yeah. So let's do a meditation, a very simple meditation using the breath as a support. And as we settle our attention into the meditation, settle the body and mind into meditation, and as we open up our awareness to notice what is happening here, not only I invite you to recognize what is the experience in this moment. See if you can also try out this idea of acknowledgement. Just acknowledge. It's like calling a spade a spade. Acknowledge pleasant sensations as pleasant, unpleasant sensation as unpleasant. Acknowledge thinking as thinking. Acknowledge stillness as stillness. Just acknowledge, and to have this kind of spaciousness of mind, capacity of mind, just let them be for this moment. Before we figure out what to do about them, before we respond to them, just let them come fully into our awareness. So let's just give it a try and see what happens. So once again, I invite you to settle back into your meditation posture. So just as before, take a few moments, allow the body to adjust, to find its way into the posture we have adopted, taking care that the back, the spine feels comfortable in this posture. First and foremost, we make sure that the posture is stable, balanced, and come across to us as well supported and safe for our body to settle into. Just by doing so, we really encourage the body in its own time to start to loosen up a bit, to unwind all the tension and tightenings, and in its own way, to let go of at least some of those unnecessary contractions, tightenings, so much so that given time, the body can really settle back and settle down comfortably into the meditation posture. So in this meditation, we're going to use the breath sensations as a support, as a resting place for our attention. So we want to start with a few deep breaths. Just breathe in and out deeply for a few times. Breathing out to release. We allow the breath to settle back into its natural rhythm. So there is no such thing as a perfect breath. So you may notice that the rhythm of the breath or the sensations associated with the breath, that the breath can be deep or shallow, can come across as fast or slow, long or short. It does not really matter. We simply surrender the breath back to the body, allow the body to breathe itself, and we tune our attention, allow it to settle on the different sensations of the breath in the different parts of our body, so that we are able to fully experience the in-breath and the out-breath. Attending to the breath sensations unfolding here and now, inviting our attention to come back to it if we do get distracted, which is a totally normal thing to happen, for the mind to wander off elsewhere, to be involved in thinking about other things. Once we notice it, once we recognize that our mind is preoccupied with something else, with memories, with fantasies, with some inner dialogue, see if we can recognize the thinking as thinking. And on top of that, acknowledge it as such. Acknowledge that this is thinking, acknowledge that our attention has drifted elsewhere without feeling upset or frustrated, or without labeling it as a failure in meditation. Just acknowledge it for what it is. And then simply after that, invite our attention to come back to the breath, come back to the resting place for our attention, and continue our meditation. Coming back here now, recontacting the breath sensations, or allowing the breath sensations to come into awareness. As we practice mindfulness of breathing, take note of what happened to our attention from one moment to the next. See if we can recognize the different activities, the different happenings in our own body and mind. And not only to recognize them, but at least to also acknowledge their presence. And having done so, having recognized and acknowledged each of those experiences, we invite our attention to once again come back to the breath. Attending to the breath, noticing the in-breath and the out-breath. If we wish to, we can make use of the out-breath as an opportunity to deepen the sense of release. Breathing out, we notice that subtle sense of release or relaxation that comes along with it, as the muscles of our diaphragm and muscles of the chest relax, allowing air to flow out. So likewise, attending to the breath, coming back to the breath sensations, Each time we breathe out, offer us an opportunity to unwind, to release. And we can remind ourselves, our own body and mind, by simply saying the word release in our mind in a very soft way. Breathing out, release. Not forcing anything to happen, but simply reminding them that there is this possibility of release. Coming back to the breath sensations, breathing out, releasing. Each time we notice the in-breath, as we breathe in, as we take in oxygen and fresh air into our lungs, into our system. Likewise, breathing in can also be an opportunity for us to return our attention here and now, to be in touch with what is happening in our own body, in our own mind, or in our surrounding. To be in touch, to be aware of sensations of the body, pleasant or unpleasant feelings, activities in our mind, sounds in the surrounding, to recognize them for what they are and to acknowledge them as such. Coming back to the breath, invite our attention to once again be in touch with the breath sensations, especially on the in-breath, to be in touch with other things that are happening in this moment, be it in the body, the mind, our environment. See if we can recognize that happening for what it is and acknowledge it as such. Whether it is pleasant or unpleasant, whether it's something we want or we don't want. See if we can at least recognize it and acknowledge it before we react to it. Coming back to the breath sensations, invite attention to come back here and now, to be in touch with what is happening, what is unfolding. Recognize it, acknowledge it. Maybe we can experiment without reacting, definitely not following our habitual reactions. What sort of effects may come forth if we simply be mindful and recognize and acknowledge the different experiences happening here and now. Without reacting, without resisting to what we find here. What sort of effect recognition and acknowledgement may have on all those unpleasant sensations, the distracting thoughts, the unwelcome sounds in the surrounding. We are shifting our attitudes, the way we relate to these different experiences, bring about some change. So that is just short meditation on trying out the idea of recognition and acknowledgement through mindfulness. In the subsequent sessions, we will explore further with this formulation of RAIN for mindfulness, and we will revisit them. Just one announcement. From next week onward, from November onward, we're not going to schedule my YouTube sessions, even though I'm continue with them. So I think they're just going to use one single URL, the live stream from Vajrayana Institute, and all my teachings, meditations, workshops, and courses will be based on that one single URL. So you can find it on the VI website next week when you. Otherwise, I'm not actually sure how it works, but just take note of it. It will always be the same link. Yeah. So anyway, that's how it all works out next week. Have a good week ahead, and thank you for your attention, and have a good evening.